Goals are very simple. Relax and enjoy. So first I want to explain you about how to add weight. How to add a weight. Because what happened, most of you might be getting in Selenium the popular error, element not found. This is a very popular error. I have not seen a single person in the earth who has not seen this error. Element not found. So naturally, people will ask in interviews, what is, have you faced this? Your answer is supposed to be yes. And then they will say, how did you address that? So there are ways you can address. One is implicit weight. You add implicit weight. Second, you use explicit weight. This is what normally people use, and this is very popular. Third, use thread.sleep. However, this one, for example, if I say 5,000 means 5 seconds, is last option. Should not be the first option. The fourth is called fluent weight. So you will definitely going to be asked this question. If I take interview, I normally ask, do you know weight? And your answer is yes. Then I said, what kind of weights you have? So implicit and explicit majority people know, but they don't know about either thread.sleep or the fluent weight. So we're going to cover with the example. Then we are going to cover form submission with Selenium. So we'll say form submission with data with Selenium. Now, initial exercise, we'll just do form submission. Then I want to teach you data-driven form submission. Now, this is not simple. This is very interesting. Normally, if you know this, your level is advanced. I'm going to show you step by step. Trust me, tonight lab is going to be very fun. There is nothing hard in Selenium. It's all Java. And you, as long as you know like a little bit Java, then you can do the exercise. But this is one of the required skill for anyone who is working on a QA called data-driven. So we're going to do data-driven testing. So that's pretty interesting exercise. I'm sure you will like it. Then, if time permits, I'm hoping that time will permit, we're going to do exercise called. So data-driven testing, and then we'll do exercise is how to address typical scenario, which is not easy to fix or solve. So that is called pop-up. So one is the pop-up problem. Second is JavaScript problem. Third is scroll problem, window, layer problem. Third is alert problem. And fifth is like user actions. So this kind of different type of problem you may have. So how do you address those? So some problem may take a days, some problem may take a weeks. So these are peculiar scenario. I'll cover some of the peculiar scenario, may not be cover all, and rest of the things we'll cover next week. So this is my main agenda for tonight. I'm pretty confident if you understand this concept, which I'm explaining. This is the first concept, which is this one, which is the lab 1 actually. So lab 1 has nice steps on there. So this is lab 1. Lab 2 is a form submissions, and then it has a 2-part. Part A, which is the simple, and part B, which is very interesting. And then we'll do different type of scenarios like pop-up scenario, JavaScript handler or executor, layer scenario, alert scenario, and there are many other scenarios we're going to cover. So we'll see how Selenium handles it. Now, before we start, I just want to request again and again, everything which I'm covering now onwards, you should apply to the project. There is no homework. It's all about you need to apply for a project. The reason projects should require effort, and that's why I'm removing homework and I'm giving you opportunity to do the project. Normally in capstone class, which is this one, last 3-4 weeks I don't give any homework. So first of all, now let's talk about implicit weight, explicit weight, plus these two, so you can understand the difference. So what happens with Selenium, when you go to any web page, right? Selenium is trying to find elements by different strategies. So we noticed last week that when you are running your program, Selenium program, they try to make a call to the web page, which is called driver.get, right? Driver.get. But then when your program is running and try to find this element, sometimes you may get exception, element not found. Or when you're changing the page, mostly when you're changing page and next page shows up, you will get an error, though element is there, but you say you're getting error, element not found, or element not visible. These are very popular problems. The reason it is, your Selenium program is clicking maybe faster than the element is displaying. So your Selenium program is clicking very fast. So if it is clicking fast, before the element shows up, it will error out. So what we need to do, we need to add here a wait. And we can say that wait till this element shows up first of all. Wait till the element shows up. And once shows up, then click it. And that will solve the problem. I wrote many Selenium programs. And majority of the time I noticed that this is the only problem you experience 80% time. How many times? 80%. So if you already know this solution, 80% problem is gone. Now it remains 20%. So 20% is easy to solve rather than 80%. Do you guys agree? 90% of students are going through this type of issue and they give up in a first wait itself. Though that wait is a common problem. Once you know it, you can use over and over. Make sense? Now, when you give a wait, you can decide the wait how long you want to give. So now, Selenium give you two wait, implicit wait, and explicit. Interview question, okay? If you don't know this, there is no way they will entertain you in further. You have to know this thing. This is basic. So implicit wait means all elements, Selenium will wait equally. So if you say implicit wait 10 seconds, so Selenium will wait for 10 seconds for each item. But the problem is implicit wait is not a blocking wait. What does that mean? It means it will wait, and if it doesn't find, it will error out. But explicit wait is going to be applied to a particular element. So explicit you can apply to a particular element. Implicit wait by default apply to all. So implicit is for all, explicit is a specific. So like example, I said 10, but this element is taking 30 seconds. In that case, it will error out because this is odd that it is taking 30 seconds. So if you say I'm going to do 30 seconds here, then your test case will take longer and longer. So you have catch, right? Because if one test case takes 2 minutes, you may have thousands of test cases. Do the math. How long will it take? 2000, which is weeks of that, right? So you have to think about that. So explicit wait you can apply only when you know that particular element is taking unusually longer. So implicit was saying 10, but let's say this is taking 30, then that can be a good candidate for explicit. Make sense? Now, when you do this exercise, test-ng will be wonderful for you because test-ng allows you to do parallel execution. Speak with me, parallel execution. So that is another reason people use test-ng. Because test-ng is not sequential. JUnit is a sequential. So if you have 500 test case, JUnit will run one at a time. So 1, 2, 3. But test-ng can run parallel. So you can save time. So it will not take longer. And JUnit may take longer, but test-ng can run parallel test cases. So you can minimize the time it takes to execute. So far so good. Now, implicit and explicit, do you see the difference? Implicit apply to entire page, explicit apply to particular. Implicit is normally one line only, so there is not much problem in that. Explicit wait has a special logic which will help you to create a wait. And once you create a wait, then if you add that wait to particular element. Now let's say I have a problem with this element also. Then you may create another wait, and then you can assign to this one. Can I use other way? The original wait you can, but it's a good idea to use another wait because you can have different parameters. One can wait for 30 seconds, other can wait for 40 seconds. Make sense, sir? Make sense? So we're gonna do that part. Now, it's very hard to show or demonstrate this thing because you will only see when there is a problem. Make sense? When you're doing like a what you call practice or a project, you will see that element not found, and that's a clue that implicit wait is not helping. That's the clue to do explicit. Make sense or not? So we are going to do a simple form first, and then I will show you how to add step by step implicit wait, explicit wait. Make sense? So before we start, any questions? I hope others join online because it's been a while. Okay, so 13 students joined. Agnisha is here, Rieta is here, Kavita is here, Laurel is here, Leah is here, Maswata is here. Okay, Michael is here, Silas, Suki online, and Sweta is here, and Time is here. Okay, perfect. Today Suki is online, perfect. We missed Bhakti, right? Anyway, let's get started. Why don't you all jump into the forum? Because we will be using forum most of the time because we want to avoid typing. Because we're going to do a lot more small exercise, so we can avoid the typing problem. So first I'll go to infotechguide.com, and I'm pretty positive by now you should know about the forum, right? Go to About Us and go to Forum, right? You should not have questions. So About Us and Forum. In Forum, we are going to go to Quality Assurance, and in Quality Assurance, we'll go Selenium Web Project. So if you go through that, you have Selenium Web Project, which is this one. So we're gonna click on it. This one is one of the most popular. You can see 2,500 students might have accessed that. Pretty good. So let's click on it. Okay. Now you're going to scroll down and search the control F so you will understand contact. Search for form. Yeah. Search for form and you see something like this. Yeah, this one. Simple form. Search for form and you will see something like that. Right? No matter where you do work in a QA job, you will always have an exercise where you have to fill up the form. So example, if you are going for, if you are planning to order pizza for maybe super well, so burger is coming fast, right? So you go to pizza, so Domino Pizza or Pizza in whatever you are, Pizza Hut, whatever, you are filling the form. Through Selenium, you can fill up the form. Let's say you're buying something from Amazon. So when you buy, you can add your shipping information, payment information through Selenium. So form submission is one of the requirement in your job. You will have that. So I'm going to show you step by step. Now, there are a few things I want you to understand. Many of you may not know the naming convention. It's very important to understand naming convention. This is called label. And when you're typing something, it's called input. Input, text box. So this is called input, text box. Text means you can write text. Easy. But when you're writing password will not be visible, while text is visible, but password will be visible like dot. So that is also input, but that's called password. Then this is all same. Then this is called checkbox. Sometimes in interview, people might ask you, what is this thing? Checkbox. Checkbox means you can select multiple checkbox. So you can select one or you can select multiple. So you can say one or you can select multiple. The second is called, you can see it is known as a radio button. It is known as a called radio button, or you can say option button. Option. This is set special because they have one versus other. So this is called mutual exclusive. Speak with me. Mutual exclusive. So mutual exclusive means you can only select one at a time. You cannot select all. Then there is a special thing called drop-down box. This is called drop-down box. Drop-down box means you can select a particular text or particular index. You need to have that skill because majority of the time you will have state to select, country to select, county to select. So it's a very important thing, you know that. And this is the big thing, is called text area, where you can write text. Most of the time, Selenium is amazing thing. Let me repeat, most of the time. So I will tell you honestly, I do lot of work for my what do you call hobby projects using Selenium only. And if I do humanly, it's gonna take months and years. But if I do Selenium, it's so much fun because once you of course, first time it takes time, maybe a week or two. But once you develop it, life is smooth. And Selenium gives you automation aspect. So you are not dependent on expert, neither you are dependent on person. So Selenium gives you that automation, that web automation, and you remove person dependency or expert dependency. And now you're dependent on process. And when you are dependent on process, now anybody can trigger your Selenium test case. Make sense? So that is what we're going to do. So first exercise we are going to do. And there are two buttons. One is called submit button. So submit button will send your request to the backend. And the reset button will reset. If you have written anything here, reset button is going to reset. Make sense? So we're going to do this exercise. But before we do that, there is a link here. I want you to click here, the link. Click on the link. So when you click on the link, you will see form like this. Say yes. Now press F12. Press F12. So when you press F12, you may notice that I can use this what you call introspectively, and I will see that every area I have the ID or name. So you can see I have ID or name. Do you guys agree? I have ID or name. So you can see that I have ID or name. Now many people, what they do, they go through one by one and find the ID, find the name, find the ID, find the name, find the ID. They kind of go through that. I do not do that. I only use catalog, record and play. So normal people will spend maybe 20-30 minutes. I might be able to do in less than a minute. In 20-30 minutes, they will have a hard time because they might make typo, they might make mistakes. But if I do catalog, it will work and it will work and it will work. Make sense? So right now, let's stop this thing. This one, just close it, understand? Close this one. So you close that one. So console is done, right? Now start your catalog recorder if you have it. If you don't have it, you have to see that. Last week we discussed about, and I'm pretty positive you might have catalog recorder, right? Yes or no? Make sure you copy this link so you don't have to type later on. So you can copy this link. You can highlight and copy this link, Control C. So when you copy that, this will be available, right? Now you start your catalog recorder. Say yes, right? Now, last week we talked about all those things details. So I'm going to delete one of the test case. So if I have any test case, I'm going to delete that just to keep one test case. So I'm going to delete that. So I have no test case. I have only suite. I'm not deleting suite. I'm just deleting test case, right? In case if you have deleted, you can always create a new test case, test suite first, and then we'll create a test cases, right? That's the reason I always suggest you should do some practice. So you cannot have, what did you do like that? You should always have questions about, hey, test suite I know. So once you select the test suite, you can click on plus sign and create a test case. Let me know if you are comfortable with here, right? So now we are going to click on test case. Now, when we click on test case, we're going to write here my form, my form, my form, my form, and click OK. My form and OK. So far, so good. Now, at this moment, I have test suite and I have test case. Now we are going to click on record. So let's click on record, relax and enjoy the ride. Record, and then you paste that URL and press enter. Paste that URL and press the enter. Recorder already started recording the things. Now start writing just like whatever you want to write. Okay, so start writing. So I'm going to write, let's say Tom. Last password is, I'm not going to tell, but my password Tom123. The email is tom@abc.com. Age, let's say my age like 21. Country is USA. And I want to have a couple of hobbies. So I can say reading and football. I'm a male, and I'm going to select Detroit. And this is fun. This is fun. The comment, and you click on submit. So that is done. Now, if you go back here, entire form is completed. So stop your recording. Give me thumbs up if you are able to do this thing. Right? People on phone, it's okay to give a thumbs up. Hey, thank you, because I know some of you are coming a little bit late, some of you are coming a little bit afterward, but give some excitement so we can have fun. Okay, there's a long run to go. Trust me, I also have a long day, but I'm super excited because this is going to change your life. You will use these things forever. Trust me, because these are like 4 days. Next 4 days, it's your combination of your day-to-day activities. So this is what you do every day, right? Now, I have created my test case. Now we can click on export. So let's click on export, please. So you click on export, and we're gonna click on export, and we're gonna select test ng. So make sure you select test ng, Java test ng. And this part we have been doing for a while. Last week also we did it. The beautiful part about that, if you scroll up or down here, you will see entire code is written nicely by my catalog recorder. So I don't have to write anything. It's kind of easily it capture ID wherever it needs, capture name, wherever it needs, capture an XPath, wherever need ID. And for drop down box, it also select. It's nicely done. You guys agree or not? So rather than me typing one by one, it will take 20-30 minutes. Have an entire methods ready to go. Good. Okay. Now we're gonna start the NetBeans. Again, we are starting fresh start. So in case if you have a problem, you can resolve that. Okay. And then we'll reuse that project over and over tonight because we don't want to spend too much time. So that's why we're gonna start with a brand new project. So those who have not done last week, they can still do it tonight. After that, we're gonna use the project over and over. So we'll not start a new project because we want to save some time. Okay. I always tell people Selenium will become easier when you use it. So my learning with Selenium is very simple. It was a little bit rookie because I didn't have like training like this. So I had to do like trial and error, go to Google and all. A lot of times, you spend a lot of time and you do not have direction. But catalog recorder is a lifesaver, I can tell you. The day I learned about Selenium ID, that day to till today, I never had a problem with Selenium. The reason, there are few techniques once you know it, most problem will be solved. So first technique I'm going to show you form, which is very easy. Then we'll show you wait. Okay. So file, new project, file, new project. Let's do file, new project, and we're going to do Maven project. So if you're new, just say Maven, Java with Maven, and say next, and say my Selenium project. My Selenium project. You can give any name, but don't give a space. Okay? My Selenium project. You guys are doing great. Okay, keep going. Now finish it. As you may notice that the project is created on the left side, and you can see nice Maven structure is created. You can see the project has M sign. That M sign shows that this is the Maven project. Okay? Now, at this moment, right click on the project and we'll create a test ng. So right click on a project, new, and we're going to say test ng test. Because we have created test ng last week, it is automatically showing here, which is kind of nice. So let's create it. So new, test engine because it is my first. So answer form test. And I'm going to give you package name. Always I start with test.com.itexps. So easy. So form test is easy. Good, good, good. Now you can see here, there are so many checkboxes out there. And again, last week we talked about if you want to run one test at a time, you do method begin, method end. If you want multiple test case and then run as a workflow, then you can say before class and after class. We talk about it, right? So these are the annotations which will help you to run the test case. Sometimes in interview people will ask, do you know any annotation? We use 4-5 annotations, which is by default. Remember, add test we do, add test which will be running the test case. Before class we talk about, after class we talk about, before method we talk about, after method we talk about, if you remember that, right? So now at this moment I have dummy test case ready. I have my catalog ready. So let's go all the way up and pick these 2 lines. Remember, we always copy these 2 lines. There's always 2 lines. You shouldn't have any questions now because we've been doing this for a while, right? Copy these 2 lines. I can tell you it's extremely easy as it's going to be as a Selenium because just understanding is more important. You're not writing big code, so don't worry. At this moment, when I get an error, if I click on that, it will not allow me import statement. Can anybody tell me why am I not getting import statement?
Yes.
Because I don't have.
Form dot don't have a Selenium.
I don't have a dependency.
Dependency.
Right?
Yes.
Very good. So I will borrow the dependency from my last project. Last project might have dependency. No, where is my last project? Come on. Oh, here you go. So I might have a dependency here. So you can see I have dependency from last project. I can pick that dependency. I can also put it in a chat room so that way you can have access to the dependency. Again, you just copy that dependency. So I'm going to put that dependency. I put it in the chat. Last project, we have the dependency, so you can use that and go to palm.xml and add the dependency here. It should be part of the dependencies and then organize. So you can see this nicely. Make sure you should not have any red color. These dependencies are added and under dependencies. Right? Always make a habit to save your palm.xml because you might have an error. So always save that. When you save it, check double check there is no red color, right? If there is no red color, and if your Maven does awesome job, you should be able to get import statement. If you get an import statement, you can say tada, import it. If you're not getting import statement, then you need to clean build. You need to do clean build, which we mentioned many times. Okay. So I will always click on that and I'm able to import, and I'm done with these 2 lines. Any questions so far? Pretty good. Straightforward. Now going to catalog back.
Hold on, it's still doing a clean and build. It takes a second or two to run.
Yeah, no problem. Now, while you are doing that exercise, you can see here in a setup, we have a couple of things. I want you to understand these 2 lines. These 2 lines, one line is for Gecko driver. Gecko driver is we downloaded last week, so I'm not going to show you how to download. We will use it because we cannot go too much backward. Otherwise, we will be slow and we will not be able to complete our goal. But we downloaded Gecko driver last week. We showed how to download and all. In case you missed the class, you might have watched that coding as well. But Gecko driver is essential. Without Gecko driver, nothing will work. Okay. Driver, this one is showing that I'm going to open a Chrome. But in your company, let's say if they're more focusing on Safari or maybe Edge, then you will be using that also. Just to give idea, this driver is actually interface, and we are plugging. Remember, we talked about plugging polymorphism. So we are plugging Chrome driver, we are plugging Firefox, we are plugging other things. But just as a file. So right now we have that. The second thing here, if you might notice that here, it is giving you a clue here how to use implicit weight. Remember, we talk about implicit weight. So implicit weight is normally given here because this is applied to entire page. So that's why they normally do one time. Make sense? So whenever you are creating driver, at the same time people do this line. So first, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these 2 lines. Let's copy that. And this line, I'm going to copy and I'm going to put before method. This two line before method. So here I have a before method. Remember, don't put in a before class. It is in before method, and I have setup method, right? And I press enter. So you can see setup method. I added that. As soon as I added that, I realized that I have an error. Remember, I'm in a before method. Your name might be different, but that's still it's before method. You import this class. So that is gone. But here it is empty. So here we need to add a path. You guys agree? And the path we defined last week, if you remember, that C colon backward slash data, that's the folder, backward slash, and then we say crom, right? Crom driver dot exe, if I'm not making mistake. In case if you are not very clear, you can double check. You can double check your C drive and check that do you have that folder. So example here, C drive, the data, and in data folder, I have Chrome driver, right? Chrome driver is there. So you can see here, if I select data and Chrome driver exe name has to be properly done. So majority time, sometimes if you don't write proper, it won't work. So you can say spelling Chrome driver.exe, which is under my data folder. So that is what I'm writing here. So that seems like pretty good. You guys agree or not? Right? This part is pretty good. Now, Chrome driver we downloaded based on the Google Chrome version. So in case if your Google Chrome version has changed, you do need to update the driver to data folder. So that part is done. At this moment, I want to add implicit wait, which is our part of today's lesson. So you can go back to Catalan. Catalan is smart enough to add implicit wait. So you can copy this line. This line, and you're done with implicit wait. So what it does, it says driver, I'm going to manage your timeout. Implicit wait, duration of second 30. It means per click, I'll wait for 30 seconds, which is quite a long time. But sometimes it's a good idea to give 30 seconds. Now here there's word called SLA. Speak with me. SLA stands for service level agreement. If your company says that your page shows up in less than 10 seconds, then I would not put 30, I would put 15 seconds. Because if it is not showing up in 15 seconds, you violated SLA. It means test already failed, right? If you say 30 seconds and if it works, it is working very slow. So working is one thing and working very slow is another thing. Make sense or not? So working very slow is also called test failure. So always identify what is your SLA. Most of the company SLA is 5 seconds or less. So in that case, you should do 5? No, because when you are doing test cases, it might be a little bit slower because of your opening the Chrome and all. So you may be reasonably and say 10 seconds. Make sense or not? Why? Because some variability will be there, some internet, some kind of your machine issues and all. But you cannot do apple to apple comparison because your machine and production machine might be different. Make sense or not? So it's always a good idea to have little variability. But if somebody says 5 second SLA, you should not give a 50 second. Make sense? So right now, I'm going to copy this line, Control C, and I'm going to add after this line. As I can see that line is being added, there is one error. It is showing the duration of second. Again, I'm converting 30 seconds, adding this wait. So we're going to import that. So when we import, we are done with this. Now it's crying. It's crying heavily. So it's crying heavily. It's say, hey, I don't have this method. Do you guys have error? You don't have error because you're using a newer version. Yes or no? You are using newer version. The reason you are using newer version because this part which I have an older version, you have newer version. So that is a API mismatch. So let me solve this problem. So far, whatever we are covering is last week content. So I'm hoping that you are not having any difficulty right now. So let me see my copy paste here. So I'll use this way. I will use this way because my machine has different setup. So sometimes it does not allow me to I should refresh. You guys know everything, huh? You guys know everything. Huh? Yeah. No, that shows that you did a homework. And that's why I always tell people, don't expect like, this miracle. You do miracle by doing this thing. So good news about it, you have done that. So it's easy. So form and form and form. Okay. I'm hoping now it should allow me. Yeah, so I'm going to copy this thing. Awesome. In case some of you need this, I'm going to paste it here. I'm trying to explain here the concept, so making sure you understand, because this is all we did last time, two, three times, and I'm pretty positive you are experienced person. In case if you missed the class, you might have watched recording as well. So you can see here what we are giving here is 30-second wait. We have not written any code. This is last week content. This is the only thing we added. So in interview, somebody asked, how would you do implicit wait? Just say driver.manage, timeout, implicit wait, and this is second. So what happened? Every element is going to wait for 30 seconds equal. Okay. Now that part is done. Any questions so far? Right? Now we are going back to our form, and this is my paste method. I'm going to paste in a chat room, so those who are having trouble, they can still use this thing. Remember one thing, in case if you are not done, not a problem at all, you can use that method. It's the same method for everyone. Those who are able to go to last curly bracket, remember last curly bracket is here, create some space here, and you paste the things which I added in a chat room or from forum. You might notice that it has an annotation test. By test annotation, test ng knows that this is a test method. So you need to import one by one, right? Good news, as you import, because you already have what you call Java Selenium dependency, almost all error will be solved quickly. Very simple, and you're done. You see how nicely, and this is what I like about Catalan, and that's why I always encourage people to use Catalan. People will not agree with me. I always say, how easy it is. I did not even write a single line of code. Did you agree or not? People don't use Catalan and they write this thing. Now they're saying, oh my God, it's taking a days. It takes minutes. If this is hard, then there is nothing you can do, because this is like the easiest thing in a Selenium we can have, right? So we are done with that. Now, one thing we want to go back to catalog and see how it is closing the browser. So you can see here at there's a driver.quit is there. So let's copy that. So we'll say driver.quit, copy that, and we'll go to after method, and we'll put it there like that, driver.quit. So every test complete, automatically browser will automatically close it. So this will close the browser. So you will not have unnecessary browser open. Just to give idea, in case if you don't close it, every test will create its own browser. So if every test creates own browser, your machine will run out of memory, because each browser will take around 200 plus megabyte space. So after 30, 40 test cases, your Google has a limit around, I think it's a 2 GB. After 2 GB, Google will crash. Why? Because you forgot to write this quit. So if you write 10 test case, you will not have problem. Maybe 15, you will not have problem. You will not notice and say, why it's not working? The reason it's not working because you are running out of memory. So having a driver.quit, you are always releasing the memory. So your Selenium will not have any problem. So good citizen, always do quit. People will say, how you're opening? You're opening through driver.get. They may ask, what is this? So this is what element means. On a web page, you are going and finding that particular text box and say, do click. So this is like a web API method. So you're saying, go and find this element. If this element is there, then click it. And then you're finding this element, clear it, and send key means type it, just like you're typing keyboard. And all those things are automatically done. We explained last week, but most of the time you are doing Selenium is nothing but this driver.find element. What if this element is not there? So example, if I do uname one, if it is not there, what will happen? I will have error, element not found, right? So I will be careful, and that's the reason I don't write manually. I use Catalan ID because it does case sensitive, it does everything it does appropriately. Because if you write uppercase uname, it won't work. So it's a good idea that you be careful with the IDs, name, XPath, and all. You can see it does everything for you. Sometimes it uses name, you can check it out, and sometimes you use XPath also. So how do I read this line? Last week we discussed about. How do I read this line? What is to slash means? Anywhere. Very good. And label. It means label. And I use this rectangle block too. What does it mean?
Array.
It's array index 2. It means there might be two labels. I'm going to use second label. And then you're saying from there take input. Make sense? And the same apply here. And you can see what is this means? Anywhere text area. So it means entire page there might be only one text area. But what if I have two text areas? In that case, it won't work. In that case, you may want to use text area, but then you have to use index. Make sense or not? Now, in this common sense, you have to develop. Because if you don't develop the common sense, what happens? Sometimes people add a text area and your text won't work. So that's why last week we spent about XPath, if you remember that. XPath is extremely important. You will be asked in interview, what is attribute, what is text, what is find, what is absolute path, what is relative path. I added recording also, I kind of walked through also. Spend like 10 minutes and you will be good with XPath. Now, how do I read this line? Please help me.
I think we're missing, some of the stuff didn't come through in the text.
Yeah,
Steps.
you can copy, sorry, my mistake. What is the not coming? Mike?
So it looks like it got cut off. The last line that you put in the text.
Yeah, you can go to forum also and you can get that. In forum also, I have that written here. So you may want to get from forum. This is the method. So in forum also we have method. You may want to get that same thing. So you can copy from forum. Okay. I'm going to add this forum link in the chat so you can get that also. Sometimes WebEx doesn't allow me to copy entire code, so I noticed that. That's why I divide that, but entire thing in forum also. So how do I read this line? Anywhere input, and there is an attribute called value submit. I will find that and I'll do click. Make sense? If I want to do reset, instead of value to submit, I'll do reset. Right? This kind of thing, if you do it, you will do amazing job. Okay. Now, I think we are good to do one thing, save it and run it. Right click and test and see if it works. Save it and right click and test, and if it works, you can see how easy it is with Catalan ID. That's why I always tell people to do a lot of practice. That's why we spent like almost 2 times we did practice last week. And I am pretty positive you must have done homework also along with that, which gives you confidence. See, nicely it is doing pretty easy. Now, I can tell you, you will not get better than this type of service. Catalan ID is amazingly simple. Okay. Many people don't know, and that's why they hate Selenium automation. They hate that it's hard. Java is hard. Selenium is not hard. Any question, concerns so far? Sorry?
It's not working at home, but working here perfectly.
No, this one should work. No. Your price line is a different thing. I'll show you how you can make it work. I added a link in the Google class also, but he did it. Rashid did it. Remember one thing: 80% things will work very quickly, and this is 80%. It is not 100%. I told you it's not reliable, but 80% will work. So far, so good. In this exercise, I have mentioned implicit way. Do you guys agree or not? But to be honest with you, it's not really making a big difference. You will still see element not found kind of thing. Why? Because, example, if I'm doing this thing and this data is taking time to show up here, in that case, it will error out. it will error out. So how do I tell Selenium that you only click when this item is visible, or click on here when this item is visible? So there is a concept called explicit wait. Everything what I'm going to do today or tonight, sorry, is all coming from forum. So as long as you have forum access, you don't have to worry about that your code is working or not, because I have done that work for you. So here I want to write in email, I want to say, you know what, wait till email shows up. Wait till email shows up and then click. So what happened? Let me show you so you will understand what I'm talking about. I'm going for cost flow. So you can see page right now not showing up. Do you see that? And even it's showing up, it's taking time. Do you notice that? So that is called wait. Now let's say I'm searching TV. Check it out. See, I'm typing, but nothing is happening. Why? Because it is taking time. Now if I say TV, see now it is, and I press enter, you can see there is a time. You can see it is taking time, and that's why I cannot just click it. It's still displaying that. I cannot just click it. See, look at that. It's still displaying. So if you click before it displays, it will error out. So such kind of website, you do need to use explicit wait. So example, I want to click here, but this takes, let's say, some time, I don't know. You say, but it is taking 10 seconds. There is no guarantee it will take 10 seconds. Maybe here 10 seconds, maybe at your house, maybe 15 seconds, maybe in production, maybe 8 seconds. So you need to come up with the approach how you will do explicitly. Okay, so I'm going to first explain on our forum, and then we'll do cut and paste. So first of all, yes. So you can see here, I put here all three waits here: relax and enjoy. Make sure you understand first. Anything I explain, you have to understand, because if you understand, then you will be able to make use of it. There is nothing to memorize. There is nothing to memorize. It's very simple. It will hardly take 2 minutes to understand. So please pay attention. First of all, the first line is a boilerplate code. First line, boilerplate. Boilerplate means you always use it. It doesn't matter which project. So example, WebDriver, this is just a variable. New WebDriver and 20 seconds. That's your just boilerplate code. Boilerplate code means you always use it. Some of you might have to change here like this way. This way meant instead of just saying like this, something you need to change. I'll show you, because you have different what you call Java. So you might need to change a little bit here because the API changed, but you will be using this line almost same. Okay. The second line you need to understand that. So if I read in English, the first line says, I'm going to create a wait variable. I'm going to create a wait variable with 20-second wait. So I'm going to create a variable 20-second wait, and that wait I will say until this condition is met. This condition is met. So let's repeat again. If I want to wait 30 seconds, I just need to do 30. Rest of things will be as is. Make sense? And then take this variable, and then you can say wait until. And now if you want to wait for email, then you just change here email. If you want to change password, then same password. The rest of the thing is boilerplate code. Now, if you think this is hard, then you have not seen hard part at all. You just need to copy this line. Listen carefully. If you want to wait for email, then copy this line, put email. And then if you want to wait for some other thing, copy this, but then that time you have to change variable to wait one, yes or no. And then maybe use that other object which you want to wait. Make sense? So adding couple of lines will solve the problem. So we're going to copy these two lines, and I'm going to show you how to add a wait. Please understand, our program does not have any problem, so we are seeing success all the time, but we will put this wait anyhow. So let's copy this. Copy these two lines. I'm going to paste in a chat. Some of you may need to change something because they have changed the API. So some of you may have an error or we need to change. I'll show you the problem solution. So don't worry about it. I'm going to add before the email. So where is the email? Here you go. Before the email, I'm going to add this thing. So you can see on the screen, before the email. This is my email. Before my email, I need to add. So I'm going to add this 2 line before the email. Okay. Always see on the screen, so you will not be surprised. So far, so good. Awesome. Now, please click on the import. So that first line will be solved right away. The second line, you can click on import, and that is also solve the problem. Are you guys solved or you have error? So you're telling me, no, you might have error. I'll show you that, please. So if you have error, we have to change this thing. I'll show you. Please understand. I do not have error because I have used the same API, but if you have error, the error resolution is something like this. So you may want to do this way. What error you have?
Just underline the 20.
Yeah, no, it needs a time unit. So I think I have solution on my website. Give me 1 second. I have added the solution here itself. I added solution because I think last time you didn't have the same problem. Time. Could you add the error so at least I can see what is the error you have?
This is the driver.
Uh-huh.
Comma and 20. The 20s. Under 20.
Yeah. So what it is saying, it's saying you need to have conversion here. So I think it is looking for conversion. 1 second. I need to have that error, so I can easily add that error because there is a little bit API change happen. So I just want to know what the error you have. So because I cannot see in mine, because when I do this one, control space, right? Let me show you. When I do control space here, I do not have that thing. So you have, what is you have? Could you check here? Wave, like do this way. Remove 20 and do control space. And read for me. What you see here? I have long. What do you have? Here, what you have? Duration timeout, right?
Yeah.
So you have duration. What is that you have?
Duration timeout.
Duration timeout. Okay, perfect. So I need to give you duration timeout. Give me 1 second. Duration timeout. I think I added solution somewhere here. Duration.
Yes.
So copy. Let me add this thing in a chat. But you can, I will zoom in so you can see also. D capital duration of seconds and 10. So let me zoom in. You need to do that and it should solve the problem. You cannot write 10t, you write D capital, duration of second as capital, seconds, and then 10 in parentheses. So my case, I wrote 20. But in your case, because my method has a long, your method has duration. So you can say duration dot of seconds 10. Okay. Right? That should solve the problem. Now, if the way you read it, please understand. I want you to completely understand this concept because this is quite easy if you understand it. So while this line has no knowledge about your element, this is always there. But using these, I are saying wait until expected condition visible of element located, and then this is your element. You use this element here just like that by ID. It means you are saying in English, you are saying I will wait 20 seconds for this element to visible. If it is visible, then I'm going to click on clear and then I'm going to do send. Make sense? Sir? Now copy these 2 lines. Copy these 2 lines, whichever you have, copy these 2 lines. And let's say I want to do the similar thing for age. So create a space before age. So before age, create some space, create some enter. Make sense? Now you do paste here. You cannot use wait, but you can do wait one, second variable, and instead of uname, you just write age. Now this is saying that I'm going to wait 20 seconds, and that wait one I did, because I'm using, I cannot use the same variable. So I said wait one wait. If I want to use same variable, listen carefully, please listen carefully. If I want to use same variable, then I don't need this line. If I don't use this line, then I can use wait. But then it will be 20 for this and 20 for this. I will not be able to change it. Ideally, I like to use different. So I like to use different. Why? Because this can be 20, this can be 30. If I do wait one, and then I need to make sure I use wait one here, right? Not wait one. Why? Because this is something you are translating. And then this one is age, so I'm using that. So you are saying for age, I will wait for 10 seconds, and for email I'll use for 20 seconds. Questions so far? Right?
If you don't repeat that and you only have wait, that means it will apply for both.
Sorry, could you repeat again?
If you said that if you remove that statement, WebDriver wait one, and if you don't have that, and if you would have applied what you have applied right now, then the condition applies similarly in every situation of 20 seconds.
No. That's what the explicit wait is. It only applies for here. What you just talk, it's implicit wait. Explicit is for only one. You're clearly saying, right? You're clearly saying I can apply to unit, right? If you don't write this line, if you don't write this line, you still have to write this age somewhere here. Then this will apply to this one and this one same way.
Yeah, that's what I understood. Okay.
Yeah. Makes sense? Confusion will happen. So that's the reason, because the reason you are doing explicit wait, because there is some variability there, right? That's why I use separate wait. You will use, I can tell you, you will use when you have a problem, element not found. 80 to 90% problem will be solved with these two miracle lines. This saves my almost, I would say, hundreds of hours. Because I know this thing, as soon as I get this, I right away add that. I write a Python also, Python Selenium, and I write Java Selenium. Because I know that you will have this problem, no doubt about it. And it's easy to solve this thing. Very easy to solve, just adding two lines. Make sense? Yes, Mahasweta. Question.
Yes, how would you decide you need a 20 seconds time or 10 second versus 30?
Yeah, it's just a ballpark, like example. You by default here you put 30 seconds suppose, right? And it still didn't work. It means you may need a mode. Make sense or not?
Okay.
Because there is no point to do 30 here and 20 here, because 30, if you are doing 30 here, still not working, then 20 it will not work.
Right.
It should be more than that, right? Because implicit will apply to everywhere. So I would keep implicit wait maybe 10 seconds, right? And here 20 seconds. Make sense or not?
Yes, thank you.
Now save it and run it. And it won't make any difference if you are in executions, because it is same. It won't make any difference. But if it is taking time, your program will wait for a little bit and it will execute. So your program becomes smart. Now the question is, does it has to wait 20 seconds? No. If you see that element in a 1 second, it will click it and move forward. But maximum it will wait for 20 seconds. Make sense? So if your element shows up in 5 seconds, it will make a click and move forward. 20 seconds is the timeout, maximum time it can wait. Question, concerns, doubt.
But test is failing all the time I try.
Sorry?
I'm
Test
still
is
getting an
failing.
error.
What is the failing means?
It says the test passed 0.00% and then test.com.itexps.form test failed.
No, but you have to read it. That's not the description. Why it is failing. You need to read about it. It can be many reasons it can fail, right?
I'm not having any errors in the program.
No. You have to see here. It will give you some clue, right?
With the WebDriver wait, which format are we supposed to use? Because I'm still getting an error when I changed it to the one.
No. You have to read about, that's why.
The driver executable
you
does
put
not
space
exist.
here. Hello, Mike.
Yeah.
Just put space here and see what you have. And then you apply.
Well,
Do
I
you see
do. I have the driver space 20. I got what.
No. Please pay attention here. You don't worry about 20. Remove the 20 for a second and do control space. And read this signature. What is the signature? That signature give you clue what to do. What is your signature says when you do control space?
It just gives me WebDriver, driver, comma, long timeout in seconds.
That's it. Then you do 20. That's it. You don't have to do anything else like that. And you will be fine. Because it is looking for long. Long means number. The other people have different version. So that's why they're having problem. So that's why I was giving them a solution. But if you have 20, you should not have problem. Just adding 20 should not have problem. Do you still have problem after adding 20?
No, I cleared it up, but there's too much.
Yeah. So what this is normal problem, Mike, by the way, it's a version to version API change. So what I normally do, I do remove the comma and then control space. So it gives me signature. You can see how many signatures they have. So sometimes, this one will be supported, sometimes this might be supported, depend on the Java version and all. So if they support here, then I need to put this and I have to put this. But for us, it's supporting here. But for them, they don't have this. They have duration. So that's why we need to use that type of method. It's a little bit different, but this is the way I normally do. Control space so you can see it. Kavita, can you tell me what error you are getting?
Yeah, the failed test, it says setup method test, setup method. The driver executable does not exist.
Okay, so it means you are not having a good Chrome driver matching. It means your data folder does not have a Gecko driver.
Okay.
And if it is there, it is not matching your version. Seems like you did not updated the browser or your driver. Last week, remember we mentioned how to update it all. So
I was having error last time also because last time it was not at all run. I was not able to run the program complete at all. But
Yeah,
today I'm able to not see the errors at all in my program. But if you can help me drive through how to get the driver.
Yeah, but I cannot go back that part. But if you have a Gecko driver, if you put the error, download the Gecko driver based on your browser version. Last week we talked about it. You go to help and download the Gecko driver. Right?
Okay.
You could have done this part when you do homework. Also, you should have same problem. If your version is not matching with your browser, it's not going to work. I think you are having that error.
Maybe.
So when you download it, remember last week we talked about Gecko driver. Download the new driver and then put it in your data folder. It should work like a charm. It should work because you don't have any syntax error. If this Gecko driver and your Chrome driver is not matching, you will have same error. If you see if you can download. Any other questions?
One question.
Yes.
About the explicit wait, if working on a website like you were showing before, like code that is slow, it is a good practice to use so often this after each line, this explicit wait.
Very nice, very nice. So first of all, make sure you understand everyone. Many people don't know this concept, explicit wait. Many people don't know. So what normally they do, they don't use this way. They use thread, T capital thread dot slip, like that. And then they use 30 or 20.
Yeah, but it's the same. It's the same. You use it so often. This is my question. Is it okay to use it after each line?
Explanation. Allow me. I'm trying to explain your question answer. Allow me. Just allow me a few minutes. So you will get your answer. So thread.sleep people use, and then people use this one. Thread.sleep means no matter what happens, I'm going to wait for 30 seconds. Even though item shows up in 1 second or 1 millisecond, it's going to wait for 30 seconds. That's very bad compared to this. This one is saying, I will, if I get item in 1 millisecond, I will move forward. So you're not really giving 20 seconds. Here, you're always giving time. So thread, this is bad. I will never use thread.sleep unless I have to use, right? Now, question again, do I have to use this thing? You have to use this thing when your elements are not showing correctly, but then you will have problem. You're saying 20 seconds, but sometimes it takes 30 seconds. And you're saying 30 seconds, and sometimes it takes 40 seconds. In that case, I will create a defect. Defect means performance defect. Because if my website takes more than 40 seconds, there's got to be a problem. You guys agree or not? If you go to Google Chrome, and if I search basketball, how long Google Chrome takes? This second. This versus 30 seconds. Do you see the difference? If my search doesn't work in 30 seconds, I would create a defect, test fail. So I would not even go further. Only you are giving reasonable plus and minus, but you cannot give like too much. Now, if every element you have to wait, our goal is not to make test case working. Our goal is to find there's a problem. That's pretty much it. Intention is not running test case. Intention is find the problem. There are two problems, functionality problem and non-functionality problem. So performance is a non-functionality problem. So you should rarely use explicit wait. If you have to use often, then site is not performing very well. So that's what I would say. I would not use often, but I'm explaining right now how it works, so that's why I use it. But in the real life, this is supposed to be used rarely. And if you use it, this is supposed to be measured based on average time, not like a very big. You should not be put 100 like that. In that case, you're just making test working, which is not the right thing to do. You need to fail there. Good. Any other question? Yes.
Thank you.
Is there any difference between driver.quit and driver.close?
Very good. So first of all, Kavita, I'm hoping you're installing the software.
I'm trying to install, but I'm not able to get 64-bit. It's only 32.
Only 32-bit. You need that. We also install only 32 bits only. Okay, we only install 32 bits only because we all have only 32 bits. Okay, so first of all, this is a good question. Listen carefully. Everyone has to see my drawing, then you will understand. I will draw it. Okay, so let's say I have one test method. So that method will open the browser. If that method opens the browser, and if I want to close that browser, then quit is good. But sometimes you have method 1, open the browser. Method 2, open the browser. And if you want to close both of them, then you say driver.close. So when you do close, it will close both of them. But if you do quit, whichever you open, it will close it. So that's the quit close one, but close will close all. So that's the difference. I use close sometimes because if accidentally I made a mistake, close will do magic. So I do that, but when you quit, it's also fine. Sorry? No. If you are independent test case, which you are doing method level, you should do quit. If you are doing class level, you should do close. Class level, because in class level, multiple method will open the browser, right? So you do that. Good. Okay. At this moment, we have done two waits. Now I'm going to do a fluent wait. Ready? So fluent wait is, I will go to our forum. It's a little bit harder. Okay. No, most people I can give you out of 10, maybe 9 people do not know this wait exists. because this is introduced recently. So fluent wait, I'm going to show you, it's on our website. So fluent wait is better than explicit wait, but the problem is the code it adds is too much code. So people sometimes say, it's too much code. They don't like that. So you can see the fluent wait. Concept, see, wait is pretty simple, 2 lines. So this explicit wait people know about it. But sometime in interview, people will ask you about fluent wait. Please understand. Fluent wait is something better. So what is the difference between explicit wait and fluent wait? If I draw the picture, you will understand. And I can give you guarantee you will not find such kind of easy, simple example, because majority people want to use it, but there is no simple example, right? So let's pay attention. We talk about explicit wait that 0 to 20 means anytime the element shows up, it will come out. Now what fluent wait is exactly the same concept, 0 to 20. But fluent wait say every interval, are you done yet? Are you visible yet? Are you visible yet? Are you visible yet? Are you visible yet? Like that. So fluent wait has the called polling interval. So polling means how frequently you should poll. So sometimes, are you done yet? So here, in this way, you are giving Selenium opportunity that if you find it, come out. Here you are telling Selenium, are you finding it? If yes, come out. So you can see here, you're adding millisecond. So here Selenium might take 1 second. Here Selenium may take 250 milliseconds. Means it's much better. Much better. But we are not really worried about that much difference, right? So we are not really using fluent wait. But in interview perspective, fluent wait has 3 things. First, you have what you call timeout. So you can say timeout is 2 seconds. But in 2 seconds, every 250 milliseconds, I will look for the element. If it is there, then I'll come out. If not, another 250 milliseconds I'll call, another 250 milliseconds. So you keep trying till you reach the last level. If you don't find in that time frame, then you give up. Make sense? So fluent wait is better than explicit wait. The only reason I do not like fluent wait is too much code. You need to write too much code. Who is going to write this? Will be more ugly code. So fluent wait, even though it is good, it has a lot of code. This is a boilerplate code. This is the boilerplate code. Has nothing to do with your element. So you take this wait, and then you add this wait here until function. So now the function will call, and your item will be added here. So this is your item, this element. That's all. But rest of the thing is a boilerplate code. So if you want to do it, we can do it quickly. You copy this portion from here to here. I'm going to put in a chat. You copy this portion. So you can do from here to here. Fluent wait. So far, so good. Now we can add somewhere. Let's example. I'm going to add after country. Sorry, before country. My mistake. Before country. Let's paste it. Before country. Before country. In case if you have errors, slowly import. Okay. Slowly, don't create it, just import. Most likely your error will disappear. If you still have a problem, then we can fix it. But mostly import should do the magic. Because I have wait 1 already, right? So we need to do wait 2. Because wait 1 we already used, so we need to do wait 2. Wait 2. Remember we told wait 2, and here in last also you need to do wait 2 because we are using wait 2. So please understand, this is my code. I use wait 2 here. I use wait 2, and we have to change this thing to country. So we already have a country here, so no problem. I think we're good. So we are using country here. You can see now. So this is a country, this is our element. So we are saying for country, we're going to wait 2 seconds. And in 2 seconds, 250 milliseconds, we're going to keep asking, are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you done yet? So this will allow fast retrieval to kind of push Selenium to get the result faster. Make sense? Now save it and run it. You won't see any difference, but it will work. If it works, awesome. Good. You're done. Make sense?
Uh-huh.
I'm keep telling you, it should be duration only because you have last time also duration. This time also should have duration.
Uh-huh.
And then
Oh,
you should,
okay.
It should be duration of
Duration of seconds.
you can have seconds like that. Like see here also. Duration of seconds.
No, but in,
Okay.
in our code over there from the forum, it is milliseconds. So I can.
You can use millisecond if you want, yeah. But second and second.
Right.
Good.
Yes.
You can run it and check it out. It should work fine without any problem. I do not use this often because it's ugly code. It adds so much code, right? And there is not much benefit. I would rather go with explicit wait because it is only 2 lines, right? So right now, I hope everyone understands implicit wait, explicit wait, and fluent wait. So now remove this thing. So I'm going to remove this one because I don't want to create a confusion. I'm going to remove the explicit wait. Please remove the explicit wait and remove the fluent wait because we want to do data-driven testing before we take a break. At least I can explain, and then after break we can do data-driven. So please understand. I remove explicit wait, I remove explicit wait, and I remove fluent wait. So I do not have any error. Can I count everyone is doing good? Okay. Now, I want you to pay attention because the mistakes are more happen when you do not have understanding. Because the one which you are doing has a little bit extra steps. But concept is quite easy. You must use this concept for your project. Okay. We are doing data-driven testing. So first I'm going to draw a picture. Everyone stop everything and just focus here because if you are not clear, then you will unnecessarily confuse and you will not use that. If you don't use this, it's going to bite you in the interview because people will ask you. So stop everything. We are not doing anything right now. We're going to explain first, then we'll take a break. Make sure you understand this is the concept. Data-driven start with the data. So you have 2 choices. You can use CSV file, you can use Excel file, you can use JSON file, or you can use database. Some people use XML also, and some people use database. So your data will come here. And from this data, you create some kind of utility program which reads this data. Utility program. So you create a utility program which reads the data. Now this utility program should be written by you. Good news. Most of the time you will find in Google and you will find those programs. The problem is 90% it will be there, 10% it won't be there. So 10% you need a Java skills, how to modify. So today we are going to learn importing data from Excel. Now the question is what data we are talking about. So you can see we have hard-coded all our data. You can see here. So I don't want hard-coded data because if I run this program 10 times, it will always take Tom and Tom 1, 2, 3. But what if I have data outside in Excel? Then I can change the Excel. I can change the Excel, and if I run Excel with if I run Excel with one data, it will run with the one data. And then if I run Excel and take second data, I can change Excel, and my test case will work fine. Make sense? So this is called externalizing data. Speak with me. Externalizing. Most company will do that. You will not find any company run this way. If these companies are running this way, they normally don't know what they're doing because this is not manageable. Why? Because password can change, user will change. It's not manageable, and you want to take out that part. So any normal person can see the data, they can modify the data. Otherwise, people, let's say changing email, it will be hard for them because they need to know Java, they need to know Selenium, they need to know how to compile, how to do Maven. There's so much thing they need to know. So why? So let's externalize the data. So now let's say data is in Excel. So we need to write utility. That utility should be smart enough. Utility should be smart enough to read this Excel, and then it should generate POJO. It should generate the POJO. Now, we all know POJO. I always tell people that if you know Java, what we have so far taught is good enough to you do a job. Everyone knows POJO. Remember setter, getter, constructor, toString we have. Now, this utility we are going to call from our test case. So from our test case, remember we have test method? Yes or no? We just ran, right? This is our test method. This is the test method. So in this test method, we are going to call this utility. We are going to call this utility. This utility will call, that utility will read the Excel file, create the POJO. So now this POJO will come into this method. And once you come, I will say get username, get password, get this thing. I'm just going to do get from my object, and I'm done. Make sense or no? So because this POJO will have setter and getter, right? The attributes are mapping based on what I need. So example, my first attribute is username. So here I will have a username attribute, set username, get username. Password attribute, get password, set password, like that. So this utility will do set. This utility will do set, right? This utility will do set, and this one will do get. Make sense? As long as you know what you want, what you are writing in Excel, this utility should know what you're writing and where you should update. Now you say, but I'm not understanding. So this utility, which is Java program doesn't know how to read Excel. So there is a special dependency we will use. We call POI dependency. Speak with me, POI. POI is a very popular dependency which helps you to personalize your UI interface. So it kind of UI interface. So user interface, it knows how to read Excel. It also knows how to read Word document. It also knows how to read PDF file. So this POI utility we are going to use, which knows how to read Excel file. But then if I know Excel file, then let me just explain. I'm going to open Excel file. Please understand, because after break, I'm going to explain this thing, but we'll do it. But I want to make sure you understand what we're going to do. See, once you understand, 90% problem will be solved because you will be using for your project, and it is quite easy. You will be able to do in less than 8 minutes once you understand it. And you don't have to memorize it because the concept is very important. Remember, do not do multitasking. Make sure you understand how it works. So once my Excel open, I'll show you the mapping part. Majority of people don't understand mapping part, so a small error will create a problem in a program. First of all, do you guys agree this is Excel? Say yes or no? Yes. Now, this is your worksheet, right? So if you have program where you are working from contact us, so you can write contact us here. And let's say you have another page where your profile, then you will create a second worksheet, yes or no. Then let's say you have a credit card payment thingy, then you will have another page, right? So in one Excel, you can have multiple worksheet. Do I have to have multiple worksheet? No, but can I use multiple worksheet? Yes. So your program should have a knowledge that first worksheet is for this one, contact us. Second worksheet is for this. Third worksheet is for this. Do you guys agree? Yes. Now, at least we know worksheet. Now, do you agree that Excel has this side is the row and this side is the column? I'm not asking hard thing, right? Now, here we're going to write a key, example username. So this is called row 1, column 1. Do you agree or not? Row 1, column 1. I'm not worried about key because I know that it's username. I'm more worried about the value. So what is that? Row 1, column 2. Do you agree or not? So from here I can get username. That I'll set in my variable. Then I need another row 2, but then I need to read this password. So that will be I'm going to store. So I'm going to read one by one cell, and I'm going to add variables. If I have contact us, which is in our case, I have 9 items. So I will create 9 variables. Yes or no? Once I have 9 variables, I'll use a custom constructor. What kind of custom? Custom constructor, and I'm going to pass all 9 variables. So my POJO will be populated. And then I'll return that POJO. And once I return, that POJO has a value. So if I say get, it already set the value, then I can get the value. Make sense? So for reading Excel, it's a painful. We cannot write programs. So we are going to use utility called POI. POI dependency we're gonna use it. Okay. So before we take a break, let's add our dependency. Because some of you have a computer setup problem and all. I'll be honest with you. If you miss last class, then you will have Catalan problem. If you miss today's class, then you have data-driven problem. And if you miss next class, you will have Jenkins problem. As I mentioned before, if I were you, I will not miss a single class. And if you miss class, I would watch recording and I'll do the lab, because each class is important for your job. Make sense? So right now we're going to add dependency. People will ask in interview, which dependency do you use? We are using POI dependency. Now, which dependency? We go to Google, our forum, go to our forum. And in that forum, I need to write such POI. POI. So if you see COI, search POI, you will see somewhere this type of dependency. Say yes. Are you guys able to? Make sure when you copy, you're going to copy up to this dependency. Don't copy dependencies. Only copy dependency. Why? Because we already have a dependency tag. Make sense or not? So I'm going to copy dependency to dependency. There are 2 dependencies we're going to copy. One dependency this, and second dependency this. Right? In order to copy, you highlight this thing. See how nicely I'm highlighting. Right? I'll do Control C. I'll put in a chat in case if you're still having a problem with the forum. Now go to your NetBeans, go to palm.xml, and after this dependency, which is Selenium dependency, you may want to add Control V, and nicely you can put it and save it. Was it hard? Pretty good. See, we are putting everything in under dependencies. Under dependencies. Make sure you understand dependencies. Easy. Right? We didn't write a single line of code, just copy paste. Right? Now, I would forcefully download the dependency by right-clicking here, right-click and clean build, and it should download POI for you. So see on your console, it should start downloading POI for you. It might go to Google because we have a test case, so it will open the Google and all, but it will download dependency for you. Okay. For me, I already have dependency, so it did not download it. But in your console, you might have seen something POI download. Somewhere you will see POI download. If you are able to see that, it means it downloaded POI dependency. And your test case might have worked, right? Did it download it? If it downloaded, it means you're all set. If it downloaded, then you are all set. Good. Any questions so far? Remember, we are only copying these 2 dependencies, and we added under dependencies tab. People on phone, if you have a question, please ask. Otherwise, we'll take a small break. And after break, we're going to do the whole exercise step by step. It may take a 30+ minutes, but you will be able to do this exercise. I can tell you, if this POI works, then majority problem will be solved, because this POI is the main thing, because it is the one which is going to read the Excel file. Okay. So at this moment, I think we are doing phenomenally well. We are on track so far. So let's take a small break. And after break, we're going to do the Excel part. Create Excel file. That's the first step. We're going to create Excel file. Then we'll create a second. We're going to create a second file, which is utility program, which is the second file. Make sure you understand. The third thing we're going to do is we're going to create Virtual. And fourth thing we'll do is we're going to use that in our test cases. If you are understanding these four aspects, it will be fine. Good news, in a real life, all these things would be done by someone else. You only need to know how to change Excel file. That's it. In a real life, somebody must have done it. So if you go to company, they are like you. Somebody must have done it. You can just use it, and you should know which Excel file to change, which tab of Excel worksheet to change, right? But if you start a company where there is no data-driven test case, then you will be doing the first time, right? It is going to take less than 15-20 minutes. If I do myself, it may take maybe 15 minutes. What I would suggest, you don't do anything right now. You stop it. I will add that thing in a Google class, so that way you have code coming to your way, right? Because if you type it, you're unnecessarily having a typing problem. You're stuck, you will lose interest, and you will not learn. One is program is not working. Second is you are not learning. At least if you learn and your program doesn't work, you can fix it. I hope you will watch recording and you can fix it. But if you don't learn it, you have a bigger problem. Make sense? So I want you to stop it. I'll give you entire code in Google Class. That way you can quickly accept it, and we'll wait for you to adapt that. Sounds good? Okay. So first thing, you agree that I need Excel file, right? Now, you need to help me. What are the elements I have? So example here, see how nicely I'm going to do all lowercase, so we have no problem, right? Name, do you guys agree?
Yes.
So we'll say name, let's say this time we'll say Kevin, so at least we know that's a different person. Password, we don't have to use same name, but it's a good idea to use the same label, so there is no problem. So Kevin 123. Again, don't try to create file and all. I'll give you also that file too if you need it. Or if you want to create, you can create, no problem there as well. But it has to be proper. Everything has to be proper, otherwise it won't work. A small mistake may create a problem. So age, Kevin is 24 years old. Country, say, okay, let's take Canada. Canada, right? Hobbies, so I will say reading. If you use multiple hobbies, then we need to create that type of thing, array list. So in that case, I can use string tokenizer. Let me show you that. I make complex for you. Or should I do one? If I do one, it's easy. But if I want to do multiple, then you have to do string tokenizer for that. Let's make this life easy up to this level. So we'll not do all those things, but we can do it. That's fine. Let's do it. So hobbies, reading, football. Okay, gender. The male, city. And I'll say city Detroit. An address. 951 North Long. Ideally, I should write the name properly here. So I'll say contact us, no space. So this is done. Now this file I'll copy in data folder, because everything I'm reading from data folder. So I'll say file, save as, right? And go to browse and give you. I'm going to data folder. So C drive data, if it is, yeah, C drive data. So I'm in data folder, and here I'm gonna say, let's say form. Make sense? So my file name, you know that it's form.xls, right? And where am I copying? C drive data. And if I press enter, file is copied. In case I want to double check that it is visible. Any questions so far? Clear? Right? Step 1 is done. So that part is taken care of. Now I need to write utility so I can read this file. So in order to do so, I'm going to use a package and I'm going to create a class. I'm in a package, right? In order to create a class, you know how to do new Java class. Because I'm reading file, I'm going to say file reader, file utility. Let's do file utility because it makes more sense, right? Because it's a file. F capital, U capital, file. Now finish. Pretty easy. Now, because I'm going to read a one file, I can write a method. So method will be public because I will be able to access from outside. These methods should read the form. So I'll say read form or read whatever content. What you want to write. So read form also, no problem. So when you read like this and press enter, curly bracket, press enter. So now we need to ask ourselves a question, are we going to return something? So our answer is when we read this Excel file, our utility program will return Pojo. But do we have Pojo? Answer is no. We don't have Pojo. We do not have Pojo. So now I need to create a Pojo. So right click, new Java class, right? And that's, I'll say contact C capital, contact US. So contact us, right? The Pojo is there. So if my utility return that Pojo, so I can say public contact us, right? Just like my method returns sometimes string or sometimes number. Example, you might have written number, like we say get max, right? We say get max, that's a method. And if I pass 3, 6, and if this method is returning something, then it is returning integer, right? In this method, I'm going to read Excel file and return the object. I'm going to return the object. But then if I want to return the object, I need to create the thing. So I'll say contact us, and variable is contact us, right? And equals to new contact us. Instead of that, I'll say null. Initially it is null, empty. And I'm going to return contact us. So far so good. The reason I'm saying that, because this is my initially, I started contact us as a class, and this is my variable start null. So I'm returning that contact us, so no problem. If I don't write return, it's gonna cry. Check it out. It's gonna cry because this guy will not like it, because you're writing here contact us, you need to better return contact us. So that's why I need to return, otherwise it's gonna cry. So far so. Now all magic I need to do here, right? Now, how do I do magic? It's a little bit tricky part. So I'll do partially, but partial you will do later. So what I'm going to do, I'll go to forum. In forum, I have one utility is that, see, a good programmer read it and transform it. Good programmer use imagination. So you need to think about, first of all, this is the program. This program has something which I can use it and something I need to change. First of all, do I have Facebook file? What is the file name? Forms.xl. Do you agree I have data folder? Right? So this line I can use it and I can change that often. This is boilerplate code. 0 means first step. Is good for me? Yes, no problem. If I go further, the row 1 means this one. So row 1 means inner. So this is sorry, my mistake. Row 1 means this. I would say 0. I have to check 0 or 1. I think it's We'll check that, okay? We have to see that because looks to row 1 is this one. So name and came in, right? So if I do row 1, it's going to get row. It means entire row it will get. Okay, row 1. And from the row, it's a get cell 0. So 0 means this one. So for us, I think it should be row 0 because I think everything starts from 0. So 0 means first row. If I take these, I will get a name. And if I get these, I'll get the password. So it's a get cell 0. Instead of 0, what should I do? 1. Why? Because this is 1 and this is 0. Let's repeat. This one, it looks 1, but they read 0. This is column 0 and this is column 1. So once I get a row 0, I'm getting entire thing. From row, I need to get a cell. And from cell, I need to get the string. Let me repeat. What should I get first? Row. From row, what should I get? Column. And from column, what should I get? String. So check it out. Everything is here. So I will put row 0 first. And then get cell instead of 1. Once I have cell, I can say get me string value and I get it. First, I'll print it. If this theory is right, then I just need to change row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5, row 6, row 7. Yes or no? Once I have that, I will get all things in a variable. Username, password, I'll take a variable. Once I have variable ready, then I'll create a constructor like that. And in constructor, I'll put all my value. Once I put my value, my object is ready. When my object is ready, I'm going to return that object and I'll close the string. Make sense? So this is what I'm going to do. You can see it, relax and enjoy. Right? I'm going to copy this step by step. The reason I'm asking not to type so you can understand more. Here, I copied it. I got an error. First, I'm going to import. When I import, make sure you understand one simple thing. You're importing two things. If it is IO, or you're importing POI, or you are importing util, but you are not importing Google. Speak with me. You are not importing again. If you email me, I will not answer that because I'm explaining nicely. You are not importing Google. You are not importing anything else. IO, POI, and util. So if I click here, you can see nice, beautiful IO. Import? Yes. If I click here, POI, import? Because when you use file, if you remember, we talk about exception. Anytime you use file, it's going to throw exceptions. So in that case, I have to throw here exceptions. Throws. What I need to do? Throws exception. When I throws exception, what kind of exception it is? Checked or runtime? What kind of exception? Anyone? Check. Because check means it won't compile unless you write it. Right? So I have to add it. So I save this thing. As I save these things, it will slowly. So it will disappear the error. Now I import here and still I'm importing POI. Now I have to make one change, if you know. We change here form. Yes or no? So that part is done. Pretty easy. Now I have workbook. Workbook means entire file. I have entire file demo. So from there, I need to take worksheet, which is this one. So first there, I'm gonna go back and I'll say, I want a worksheet, but I know the name. So I'll say contact us. Contact us. And now check it out. Remember, you're not importing Google. So you can see here, can I import POI? Yes. So that part is done. And now, come on. Come on. What's the problem here? Oh, because this variable I'm using again. So I'm going to use contact because I cannot use that variable, right? So I'll say contact. So first of all, so what we are saying here, we are saying enter this thing is contact, right? Now I'm going to use row. So now we're going to use this thing. See, I'm not typing, I'm thinking and adding. And we don't have to know each and everything. So now get row. I think we need to do 0. So get 0, row. What am I importing? POI. Check it out. What am I importing? POI. Then what am I importing? First sheets. What is first sheet? No, it should be contact, right? No, contact. So far, so good. So row is done. So now we are up this level. Right now we are in a first line. We are in a first line. So we got the row. Now we're going to get this column and this cell. So check it out. Everything is here smoothly written. So cell, are you going to import POI? I say yes. Problem. Things are moving very well. And this is nothing but now instead of this, I'll say name. Now I technically speaking here, I need to do 1 because this is not a first column. This is 0 and this is 1. So I need to use 1. So at this moment, I think I'm doing good. But if that's the case, then I need to print it. That's how it is the best way to print, right? So I'll say name equal to plus name. That part is pretty good. So at this moment, any question, concerns, doubt you have, help me, ask me questions. I can right click and format so it will look good. So far, so good. Now, I know that if I do this strategy right? So if I do this strategy right, next time I need to copy same thing. Row I already have for 0. But if I copy this thing and repeat this thing, if I repeat this thing for row, next row. So what should I write here? Instead of row, I remove the row because the variable is already defined. So I remove the row here and I keep R, but what should I do here? 1. So if I do 1, it will go to password. Everything looks good. So here it will be password. So there is nothing to change here. I just need to remove this variable because that is already declared. So I cannot use 2 times, right? So I'm going to remove the declarations, right? And instead of name, what should I do? Password. Right? And here, get cell, that is perfectly fine, right? Because here I should say password. Right? And here I can say password. Make sense on that? Now, time being, I just want to do this too. Time being. But then where is my Pojo? I need to return this thing, Pojo. Make sense on that? Do you guys agree on that? But Pojo I created, but there's nothing. So right now I'm going to go to the Pojo. And in Pojo, I'm going to create string username, string password. Let me write private because it's a good practice to write private because otherwise people might be able to use from outside. Private. So first of all, I'm not creating others for timing. Just want to show if it works or not. If it doesn't work, we have to figure it out, right? So we want to make sure we go easy, right? So things are going very well so far. So let me right click. You know what to do. Insert code, right? And then constructor. I'm going to use custom constructor. So that part is pretty good. And right click, insert code, getter and setter. Check. Very good. Then toString, right? This is the way I normally do. I don't write code and test. I write code a little bit and test it. Then move forward. So you're confident. The last thing you do is write everything and say it's not working. That's very bad. Remember, Agile. 2 lines, but it should work. 4 lines, it should work. 6 lines, it should work. You write 100 lines and nothing works, useless, right? Make sure you do step by step. So Pojo is ready. If that's the case, then I can go here and say, you know what? I want to create contact us equals to new C capital contact us, where I can pass 2 parameters. What are those 2 parameters? Name and password. So name. So here I would use username, that's fine. So name is there and automatically password is there and semicolon there. Basically what I'm saying, whatever I read from file, I'm adding here. And when I add that, that object is populated and I'm returning. At this moment, any question? Now, I don't want this method to be called multiple times, so I'm going to use static here. Static means only one. Static means only one. Because you are not going to read Excel multiple times. You read it, it will be in memory and it will remain in memory. You don't want to read again and again. You can, but that's a bad practice because file is not going to change every second. Do you agree or not? When you run entire file, you are reading and then you are using it. So you don't have to read again and again. So I'm going to do static. So I'm almost done. Now I'm moving to the next step. So now, see, look at that. This portion is done. This portion is done. This portion is also done. So now test cases is going to use this thing and we'll see if we are getting that. So now I'm going with my test. In my test case, I have hard-coded top. Instead of these, I can use my util. Yes or no? What is my util name? File util. So check it out. I'm removing that because I know I have username. So I'll say F capital file, control space, it will give you help, right? Util. Now, if I say dot, it's a read form. If I say dot, it's going to get username. Oh, wow. I like that. I got that, right? And same thing if I want to do password, right? So whatever you do, file, control space, util, right? Then dot, then read form, right? Then dot, then get password. I just want to see if it works. If it works, when I run my program, I should see Kevin and Kevin 1, 2, 3. If you see that, you have to say Tada, because normally this thing takes 8 to 9 hours if you know it. If you don't know, it will take 40 plus hours. But because I know it takes less than 8 minutes. But you need to tell Tada. If you say Tada, I'm going to give you code, and your role is to add 2 more. Don't worry about the entire thing. Add 2 more, and that's more than enough. Would you be able to do so? Right? I'll give you code, but if at least 1 or 2% can do that, I will feel great that you follow me, you understood me. But if you cannot do it, I will feel awkward. But if you do it for project, I will still feel good. But if you don't do it for a project, then I'll be very honest with you. You are remaining a level 1 of Selenium users. If you use data-driven, you are moving to level 2, which is called 3 years of experience. Make sense? The first year people hard code, then they improve. So right now, let's see if it works. Okay. I'm saving this thing and I'm hoping everything will work. And I'm strongly thinking, let's see, magic. Did you see that? Awesome. I wanted to hear something. Ta-da. Wouldn't it be great? You see how beautiful it is? I'm going to quickly show you one more, okay? So don't worry about it. Check it out. I'm going to do email. Where should I go? I need to go to file util. Speak up so I follow. Where should I go? File util. Now what should I copy? This thing, right? And then if I copy here, what should I change here? To what? I don't have to change this. Email, right? What should I change here? Email. What should I change here? Email. But our Pojo doesn't have email item. Do you agree or not? When you have this, no worries. You remove the constructor first of all. Remove the constructor. And now add this thing, private string email. You also need to remove the toString. So constructor and toString you remove. So first of all, now right click, insert code, and getter and setter, it will just give you email because you just added. And then you recreate custom constructor. So insert code, constructor, check, check, and check. Easy. And then you recreate toString again, because you need to have toString, but it should be all checked. If you do that, you will get an error. This file, it will say, wait a minute, you are giving me 2, you're supposed to have 3, and that's what we need. Third will be email. Make sense? So once I do that, where should I go now? Mojo already prepared. Where should I go and use email? I got an email now.
In the test.
Very good. I go to test and I remove that, and I can copy this portion up to this, right? And what am I going to do? Get
Email.
easy, easy. And if I run it, if email source, you need to say tada again. See how easy it is. This is called easiest thing, cut and paste and modify. First time it takes time, and second time it's just like a minute, right? That's why I'm telling you, guys, unnecessary slowing down your career is not right thing. You might think, oh, it's hard, but that is the one which is going to give you maximum money. If you try to go easy, there will be 1,000 people will compete. Yeah, this type of thing, normally people don't even know. Okay, was it hard? One more, come on, help me. So now we are going to do age. Where should I go? Come on, help me. Where should I go?
File.
File it. Do you know how to copy?
Right.
Right. So copy that. So what should I do?
3.
Here, age, here, age, here, age. So copy it. Now what should I do?
Save it.
I save this thing. This is done.
Yeah.
Now go to Pojo. Now I need to remove constructor and toString. Make sure you remove it because you're adding something, right?
Mhm.
And you're adding here private string age. Make sense? Now what should I do? Insert
Constructor.
and getter, right? But first setter and getter. Insert setter and getter. Check, check, check. Make sense or not?
Mhm.
Then right click, insert code, constructor, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Easy. Then right click, insert code to string.
toString.
Now save this, go to your test case, right? And instead of 21, I can use this portion up to this, right? Because I don't want to type too much. And what should I say? Get. See how easy it is? Program become data driven, and I can change K into others, and it should work. It should just work. I don't have to change the program. If I change the data, it will work. And check it out. And it's nicely, beautifully. Boom, boom, boom. Oops. Did it work or not?
No.
No. I think something cannot get the text value numeric. Where did I use numeric? Oh,
Age
oh.
is 21.
No. What happened is when this guy read, Excel guy read, right? It's reading this guy as a numeric value. 1 second. It is numeric value, so I need to do a little bit magic here. 1 second. Where did it error out? It did error out with the conversion part. So here you go. So here it errored out. So where it errored out, cannot get text value from numeric cell,
Mhm.
right? Numeric cell, what does it mean? So I need to do casting, let's say here. So here, so when I did C, right? And then I say string value, right? So what is the problem? Does it give me other value? Get, okay, they have get number, get numeric cell value. Let's do that. So if I do numeric, it's gonna cry, right? So normally what I do is I just do plus double quotation and solve the problem.
You are doing an email.
Oh,
You
am
should
I?
do it
Sorry,
again.
sorry. Sorry for that. That's good. Thank you for saying that. First of all, oh, we have not added age at all.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
At age, yeah.
We missed that, right?
Mm-hmm.
We missed that. Let me try one more time. Maybe it might work. It might work because we might have missed that. That's the reason. Let me try one more time. Right click and let's see. I think it will try, but we'll fix it. This is very useful. I'm give you guarantee you may be using whenever you're data driven. It comes up to here and it blows up because it is crying with the numeric cell. Now this time we'll fix it. So it's clearly saying that get text numeric cell, right? So now if I go here, it is coming here, but if I go here, it is detail. So it is blowing here, right? So let's do it. So get numeric, it give you get numeric cell value. That's what it says. So let's do plus double quotation because we are converting numeric to string. So when we convert numeric to string, you just need to do empty string. That's what I'm doing. Or you can do other casting, but this is the best way to do. So now save it. If it works, awesome. Otherwise, we have to look for Google. These are called peculiar problems, right? You learn as you do. So come on, go. This time it went through. Perfect. Okay. So right now, I think you can, let me give you and then see if you can do country. Doable? Only do country for, and then I want to give you a little bit time for country. Don't worry about other part you can do later. But first thing, I'll give you step-by-step thing. Give me 2 more minutes, okay? So I'll go to Google Class and everything I'm going to add it. So you will have a clear picture what I'm trying to do. So here, material, okay? In material, I'll say file, util, program. Okay. First, I'm going to give you Pojo. How to create Pojo and all, you need to use your imagination because it's not like you're doing first time. So you will have a problem, no problem. I'm going to give you entire Pojo, contact us. First, make it work. Don't change it. First, make it work. Are you going to use this or just for knowledge purpose?
Knowledge purpose.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm doing this design so you can see separate. Otherwise, you will not even separate it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the knowledge purpose. I'm hoping you can use that imagination. File util. Copy that and file util. So file util is copied. Now, you may have packages and all. I'm sure you will figure it out there. So that is part good. Then form test. I'm going to change this. I'm going to give you entire method. Make it work, okay? Use whatever you want. This is the method I'm giving, test method. Yeah. So the method is going to be that's fine. So that method I gave you already. Now I'm going to give you Excel file in attachment. So I'm going to attach, upload. I'm going to upload my Excel file. So that way you have that also coming to your way. So it's a data. Remember data and what was the file name? Form.xml. So form.xml is there and it is a church. Now at this moment, I think everything you have, right? You got the util, you got the Pojo, Maven. I think let me give a Maven also. So in case if you have not done dependency, the dependency also I'm going to give you in case if you have not done, right? So that much thing, right? I'll give you free for Maven. This is dependency. You have seen that, so I'm pretty positive you will be able to do it, right? So right now, come on. There is one. Don't cry, please. It is giving me. I'm gonna post it anyhow, so you can get started. Then I'll move it around. Let's see if you can do it. I am going to move it in a Scrum, so not Scrum, my mistake. It's in a web, Selenium WebDriver. Refresh your Google class and you should see. Refresh your Google class, you will see under Selenium WebDriver.
I have a question to Sarbai.
What is the question?
I don't have a Excel and PowerPoint. I have to buy it first, right? Or
No,
I can use it.
I don't think you can try.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Make sure Excel file goes to the data folder. Maven goes projects. Everything is here step by step. This is your structure. Make sure your class is appropriately created. Name has to match exactly, right? Package has to match exactly. Everything has to match, then it will work. It's a case sensitive, so make sure contact us, US capital, file util, file F capital, U capital. See on the screen. You are not going to do anything, you're going to just see it. I want you to understand, because we have 30 minutes, I'm going to teach you at least 6-7 tips. This thing, if I comment it out, then this test case will not run. Check it out. If I do like this, now if I save it and if I run, now nothing will work. The test case will not run, which means I'm not deleting, I'm just commenting. Make sense? So I can refer it, but I don't want to run this test case anymore. You guys agree? So there is no, it says there is no test found. Basically, there is no test found, which is good. No problem. Make sense or no? Now I will go to my forum. Make sure you see here, don't panic and don't do you have enough things with you. Your code, your Google class, I'll give you everything you have. So don't worry about that part. Now I'm going to show you some techniques here. Sometimes what happens, you will have something called, let me explain Facebook first. So I don't like to Facebook. Let me use these because I have, you know, old Facebook account which is logged in. I don't have username and password, so I cannot undo that. So this is fine. So here you can see this is the Facebook. If I do F12, relax. You don't have to do anything. Just pay attention. If I do F12, right? So, oops, I should have done F12. And if I open that, and if I click on that, you will see that I get this item. Now, by default, what I'm interested in, sorry, F12, and I get this thing. Now, by default, if you see here, the one I get here is this one. You can see name is ls like this. So if I make it bigger, goes to read, right? So here I get. So you can see here, you get input type text. Class is this. So you can use also class also. There's a locator called class. So far, we locate by name, by ID, but you can also locate by class also. So you can see here in the techniques I mentioned here. So you can see here, first I open the Facebook, and I say driver find element by CSS selector. And then I use input text. Now, sometimes it's hard. So best thing people will do is you right click on it and then you copy. And you have a couple of options available. Makes sense or not? So CSS is by default not available, but you have to play around. So you can get that thing, you can see here, you can style. So if I copy the style, it's kind of different thing. So you can see here, I get this name. I'm not interested in any of them. But if I right click here, you have XPath, right? If you can get ID name, take it. But if you don't work that, you can also use CS selector. And CX selector is, if I see here, so how it's coming CX selector. Let's try to understand. So where is that one? Here you go. So you can see here, it is using input text for that. So let's see here what these guys are doing here in our code here. So you can see here, input is there, and then input text, okay? So input is there and input text. So you can see here, it is using input, which is this one, and input text, which is this one. Make sense? And by doing that, it creates CS selector. It is creating CS selector. So you can see here, input text, and it is creating CS selector. So sometimes you can find item based on CS selector if you don't have ID or name. If I have ID and name, I will use only that. So that is another thing. People say, do you know how to use CS selector? So this is a locator strategy. You can locate by ID, locate by name, locate by XPath, or you can locate by CS selector. Make sense? In case if you don't have proper way to do, this is another way to do. Second, by default, your window sometimes start with minimum or like that. And sometimes you will have a scroll bar. If your scroll bar, your test will not work properly. So it's a very important thing you do is you start with this line. So if you copy this line, let me just show you. If I copy this line, as soon as I open my driver, so as soon as I open my driver, I will copy like that. So what happened is I'm saying driver manage window maximize. Maximize means start with a big window. So you will not have a scroll bar. Because if you have a smaller window, like example, if you have a smaller window, what will happen? Please pay attention. Otherwise, this concept you will never be able to explain in an interview. So if you have a smaller window, you will have a scroll bar and your element will be somewhere here. It means you will not be able to touch the element. You will not be able to click it. It will not work at all. But if you do maximize, your window will be big. It means now you have complete window. So your element is visible. Now you can click it. This line saves so many hours of mine because this maximize, if I don't do it, I have to handle a lot of problems. So I always start with the maximize. When I do maximize, if my element is somewhere here, it will be visible. But what if my element is somewhere here? What should I do? It is still not visible. What should I do? Then I need to do scroll bar like that. Make sense? So this concept, you need to know how to add a scroll bar. So first of all, maximum window mostly solve the problem, but it is possible you might have a scroll bar. So let's example, we'll go to Costco. So you have Costco, so you can see here, Costco is here, right? But in Costco, you can see there are a lot of scroll bar. Do you guys agree or not? Let's say I want to select the last item, just an example. I don't know how last item, it keep adding, right? So it's going to be crazy. So let's example, I want to add this item, right? I cannot do unless I do scroll bar. So how to add scroll bar? I'm going to show you tips. Again, good news, it's 1 line or 2 lines. It's all in our Google class. Sorry, forum. So scroll bar, I'm going to show you scroll. Don't cry, this miracle is just 2 lines. So you add this line, So like example, this line is a boilerplate code. You only say how many pixels you wanna scroll. So this is horizontal and this is vertical. So what does it mean? You are saying when you say 0, you're not worried about horizontal. 250 means you're talking about, so 250 going down. But let's say if you want to go further, you increase this number. Make sense or not? So if you make 1000, so what will happen? The page will show up, and 1000 means you will scroll down. So if there is an item hidden here, will be now visible. Make sense or not? Then you will be able to do. So a couple of like two batch back, one student was doing Starbucks automation, and they are a scroll bar. They literally spent 2-3 days, and they were here Monday and Tuesday, 8 + 8 hours. And then I said, oh, element is hidden. I said, why don't you add scroll bar? Problem fixed. So where can I add that? Ideally, this you can add. Let's say if I copy it, ideally you add this thing, like example, this is your driver. After you do that, you add after, ideally. So that way you can import it, and as soon as the browser opens, it will go to scroll bar. If you want to do horizontal scroll bar, then you add this value and make 0 this thing. If you want to both, then you have both value. So if you do like this, like example, this also and this also, then in that case you give both value. Mostly you will be doing one vertical or horizontal. Questions? Make sense? Now, another thing, it's a layer. Let's see, we talk about. Second, there's a Redfin. Yeah, the Redfin is pretty interesting. So let me show you the problem first, so you will understand that. So Redfin problem is normally. See, I'm moving my mouse. Please pay attention. This is very complex scenario. See, I'm moving my mouse. See what happened? When I move my mouse, menu shows up. I'm not clicking, I'm moving my mouse. So moving my mouse is a user action. Speak with me, user action. So when I move my mouse, I have user action. And from that user action, I need to select a particular thing. So definitely I need to add a wait, because if I see, look at here, when I move, there is a small delay before the pop-up shows up. And then I'm clicking here. When I click here, I want to show the next page, the title changed, right? And I see the page. So students are having a hard time to move mouse, because when you move mouse, then pop-up shows up. Then you have to select here, right? So how to do that? So for that, I have a hint here. First, you do maximum window, which is clear. This is no problem. Now you can see here, driver, find element. A means anchor. So when you have A means anchor, contents means, I don't know the full name, but I know it's a by menu. So you can see here, it's pretty interesting. So somewhere I need to go here, but there may be so many things. So I don't know. So what we are saying here, this is nothing but, let me do F12 so you can understand what I'm talking about. So if I do F12, and if I click here, you will see it's pretty different here. So if I click here, yeah, here you go. So if you see here, it's pretty different. Do you agree? But I know that is an anchor tag. Yes or no? And their tag, somewhere there's a title called by menu. Here it says by menu. Over there it says by. Do you agree or not? So I want to use this. So this is my tag. This is my attribute. This is my text. So using this, how I do that? Check it out. So here, all an anchor tag contains add title, which is attribute. If it's by menu, I want to find that element. Once I find element, then I do magic here. Check it out. Action driver move to element. Move to element. So just like user mouse movement will happen, state mouse will move. And that mouse movement should go to this, go to this element. Then build it, and then you say perform. Perform means click it. Make sense? So if you don't do this action, mouse movement will not happen. Make sense? So in exam, the interview, they may ask, how do you do mouse movement? So let's repeat again. First of all, getting this thing allows me to find a menu, which is the buy. Then I'm saying action driver to go there. So this will allow me to go there, because you can see move to element. Once you move to element, I'm saying wait. Wait for 10 seconds. Remember explicit wait? And once this is visible, this link text, once it is visible, then you click it. This took me also a couple of hours. So you might have something where you have menu problem. You are not able to do with the catalog and all. So in that case, you have to find a way. So here you are searching a particular menu. You are waiting. You're going back to the place. Then you're waiting for 10 seconds. Then you're looking for link text. Link text, and then you click. So let me show you running. Then it will be fun. So I'm going to copy it. Just see here. It's all working code. So you can also do when you get a time, not now. So right now, see, I'm a working code. I paste it here. I save this thing. If there is an import I need to do, I import. Did I copy? Yeah. If I need to do import, everything is coming from Selenium only. Actions are import. And oops, uncheck. Don't import AWT. See, people make mistake. We only import Selenium. So don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Only import this one. Now, it doesn't happen accidentally, but because you are having habitual to select first one, you will select wrong one. Yes or no? You need to select Selenium there. Got it? And the same thing apply here. Now here I have a problem. Remember, you have a driver I need to do, I think 10, right? So that's good. Now if I run it, you will see it will do red feed and it will walk through that step by step. This is like, this type of things are difficult problem. It takes time to resolve. But you can see now it open, it will maximize. Did you maximize? And now you can see it is moving my mouse by menu. It will move mouse and you can see the cursor will see. You see that? Now you click it and successful. It took us a long time because initially we need to find that mouse movement. Then we have to add 10 seconds. Then we did that. And then we have to find link text, because link text was in the buried here. Like check it out. Link text is a buried. This one is a link text. So if I click here, check it out. If I move my mouse, if I move here, and if I click here, I don't get the detail. It is going to some other page. So see what happened? If I click on buy, that time I'm here. The only way I can get it here. So what I did is the link text. That's it. Link text. I'm not seeing anywhere in the code, but because I can see the text here, I came up with this concept that, hey, link text. This is the concept also, link text, and I use exactly like that. And if it is waiting for 10 seconds, if it is there, click it and move on. Make sense? So such kind of thing I would say you might encounter. CSS we talk about. Then now one more thing I want to talk about, alert, and then we'll call a day. So 1 second, alert. Yeah, this is also I found from this Guru sites, which is very useful. Let me show you. So it popped up lots of things, but it's okay. You can still understand the concept. I found a good example here. So you can see they have this customer ID. So if I do 1, 2, 3, it's submit. Check it out. It will open the alert, and from alert I need to do OK or cancel. So this concept you only can do through alert. So if I do OK, then it is say you completed successfully, right? So how do we do that? So for this kind of situation where you have pop-up coming, so first you go to the site, you find the element, enter some number, submit. As soon as you submit, alert shows up. So you are saying now driver switch to alert, means you go to that pop-up. And in that pop-up, there are two buttons you have, OK and cancel. So now you are saying alert, get text. So the get text means here, what text you have here, you are getting that text. And then you are saying accept. Accept means you click OK. So let's repeat again. So first, this one will go to the site. In the site, your text box. So you're finding the text box and you're typing that and you're submitting. As soon as you submit, you get a pop-up. When you get a pop-up, there is a text here. That text you are getting for verification purpose. Then you are saying, I accept the alert. And accept the alert means you are doing OK, and alert will disappear. So let me copy this and I'll show you so you can see how it works. So I will comment out the other one, red thing, by so it will not run it. That's called mouse over, and now this one is pop-up. They may ask question in the how you handle pop-up in the interview. So this is the way, switch to alert. That's the way you handle. I'll do assert here. Now if I run it, you will see it will open the thing. This code is there already in the Google my forum. I want you to understand right now. So when you have time, you can run it. If you are getting pop-up, you can handle it. That's why I give the code also. So check it out, Europa. Now it's going to type. Pop-up came and it's going to accept the pop-up. It's going to read and accept the pop-up. Make sense? So some of you might have this kind of problem in your project. But at this moment, you are knowing enough to do project almost 80% done. Okay, so Selenium perspective, I think you are very good at this moment. At this moment, what I have taught you or what you know about it, technically speaking, you can complete the project. There are a few topics which I have to do, which is advanced version of Selenium, but you don't have to wait for that. Next coming class, I will cover two things. One I'll cover is Selenium Grid. Then I'll cover about page object, and I'll cover BDD. This is what I'll cover next class. And then last class, I'll cover Jenkins. Jenkins is good to know, but it's not, I don't want you to wait for that, because you can also know this part. This is also very hard in the market. This is also hard. You should know each and every topic is hard. However, it requires effort. So if you are working on a project, you do, as I said, right now I completed data-driven. So you should have data-driven in your project right now. When you complete that next week, I'm going to teach you page object and BDD. You can apply that thing in your project. You have 7 days to apply. I'm going to give you proper example and all you can do. Then the Jenkins, you already know, Git. So Jenkins should not take time. I'll show you that part also. And then your project is coming. So knowing that current reality, if I do grid and page object next week, if I do Jenkins next week, your project will be due on 9th. Make sense? Seriously work. You will never have regret in your career. Trust me. Seriously work. Don't cut the corner that, hey, I'm not going to do this. I will do this. What you try will not work. But what you try here will work. Why? Because you have combination of skills. Combination of skills. Java, Selenium, Grid, HTML. So that's the reason people welcome. Even you are not perfect. Because your combination skill makes you a lot more promising candidate. Remember, you don't need to know in and out. You need to know the concept, and the Selenium which you know right now is good enough to do the job. Trust me. Because in a real life, you get a lot more time. It's not like a 2 hours, 3 hours. You get 40 hours to do what you're doing right now in 4 hours. Sounds good? Question, concern before we adjourn today's meeting? Good. In case if you are interested in QA manual class is on Saturday, 10:30 a.m. Shambhala. QA manual class is Saturday, 10:30 a.m. in Shambhala, which is here. I will be the teaching, but in case if you're interested, let me know or let Harish know and we'll invite you. Okay? Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed today's session. I'll give you the Google class recording, so you will have access there. Okay, thank you.
Were you saying that Saturday you were redoing the QA class or?
Manual, QA manual. QA manual will be starting. So we will be starting this Saturday, 10:30 QA manual class we are starting. Not Java, not Selenium, it's QA manual.